So good day everyone. So I'm here to discuss about the diversity of macroinvertebrates such as corals, crustaceans, annelids, and puripirans. So as you can see here, this is considered as one of our requirements in my graduate studies in the subject of advanced biology. So at this point, our topic is all about diversity of microinvertebrates. So we will find out what is macroinvertebrates? So it is refers to the small range of animals without backbones, inhabit various ecosystems such as freshwater and marine environment. And technically, we will find out the different organisms that considered without backbone. So basically, we are focusing with the four classes such as the corals, the crustaceans, the annelids, and puripirans. At this juncture, just allow me to introduce to you our topic outline. So the first one, we will dealing with the taxonomy and classification. So meaning to say, we will find out the different classes, the different genus and species based on its classification. And number two, let's talk about morphology and physiological adaptations. So meaning to say, we will find out how does the different organisms adapt with a certain environment, how different organisms survive on that particular area or places. And number three, let's talk about development of life cycles and reproductive strategies. So we will find out kung paano sila mamuhay and when it comes for their growth and development. And number four, we are dealing with habitats and distribution. So we need to say we will find out kung saan ba sila naninirahan at kung paano sila mag-adjust at mag-adapt in that particular location. And last but not the least, we are dealing with the ecological and economic importance. So we will find out ano ba ang kahalagahan niya sa ating biodiversity or what we call as ano yung role and obligation niya when it comes to balancing our ecosystem. And at the same time, aalamin natin kung paano sila mag-survive in that particular places. So at this point, let's talk about topic number one. So we are dealing with taxonomy and classification. So from the word itself, we will need to classify different species according to its family, phylum, genera, and species. So the first one, we will need to provide an overview of the taxonomy. And then number two, we will discuss the different families, genera, and species within each organism. And also, we will need to explain the taxonomic level within each group. So the first one, let's talk about corals. So technically, what is the role of corals? So they are belong to the kingdom Animalia. So meaning to say, sila ay belong sa mga animals. When it comes to phylum, we have a Cnidaria, class of Anthozoa, order with Sclerotina or hard corals, and we have a soft corals. When it comes to family, as you can see here, we have a various families such as Sclerotinia and Aliconesea. And when it comes to genus, these are belong with the various genera and species as well. So the first one, let's talk about the jellyfish and sea anemones. So technically, sea anemones are considered as stationary predators. They capture prey through stinging cells or what we call as nepatocytes. However, jellyfish also is considered as a predators. They catch also the prey and also this is responsible or helping to the regulation of our plankton populations. And this also, in addition for that, jellyfish is have a vital role when it comes to the marine food web balancing. So, based on that illustration or in my presentation, we will see the different parts or what we call as the anatomy of the sea anemones and jellyfish. So, kung makikita po natin, meron po silang iba't ibang parts. They have a mouth, tentacles. So, tentacles used for movement. And we will have and they have also the two layers or tissue layers. As you can see here, we have epidermis and gastrodermis. And at the same time, they have a fibers or muscle fibers. And also they have a polyp stage. And also they have a different parts such as a nematocytes or also present in sea animal that are responsible for capturing a prey. And aside from that, when it comes to crustaceans, so crustaceans, sila po ay papasok dyan yung mga seafoods such as crabs, shrimp, what we call this, the uh, crayfish, and many more. So crustaceans also belong with kingdom Animalia, phylum Arthropoda, so meaning to say they have hard skeleton. Ano po? So best example for that is crabs. And when it comes to class, they are belong to the class Malacostrata, an order of lobsters, shrimps, and crabs. They are belong with the family of Decapoda and different various species and genus. So when it comes to crustaceans, so as you can see here, they have an endoskeleton or exoskeletons. And also, they are considered as segmented bodies. So when we say segmented bodies, meron po sila mga paa na ginagamit para po sa kanilang paggalaw in order to capture a prey or foods. And also, segmented bodies used for them to move from one place to another places. So aside from that, in crustaceans, they are belong to phylum Arthropoda, such as the insects, spiders, millipedes, and many more. And when it comes to annelids, when it comes to taxonomy and classifications, we have here a class Polychaeta, subclass of Oligaita, and subclass Hirudinea or Hirudo medicinales when it comes to scientific name of our liches or sa Tagalog ay linta. They are belong to the kingdom Animalia as well, so meaning to say they are belong to animals. And also they have class of Polychaeta, Oligaita, and Hirudinea. And also they have a different various or they have a various orders, family, genus, and species. So when it comes to our Polychaeta, we will have a marine worms and segmented. And also in class Oligaita, we will have earthworms. So technically earthworms, ito po ay ginagamit parang pain sa isda when tayo po ay nangangawil. And when it comes to subclass Hirudinea, let's talk about leeches. So ito po ay makakapit. Kapag ito po ay dumapi sa ating katawan, there's a possibility na ubusin po nito ang ating blood. And aside from that, when it comes to the families, we will have a Nereidea, Lombricidea, and Hirudinea, or what we call as the ragworms, earthworms, and leeches. And when it comes to species, they have a different species such as Lumbricus terrestasis, Hirudo medicinales. And when it comes to genera, we will have Lumbricus and Hirudo. So, kung mapapansin natin, when it comes to earthworm or what we call as Lumbricus, they have fewer setae and clytilium. And also when it comes to Polychaeta, they have a numerous slender blisters or setae. And also, ito pong Hirudinea is lack of setae but will have a suckers and stylium. So kapag ito'y kumapit sa iyo, there's a possibility na mahirap po siyang tanggalin. So when it comes to annelid also, in addition for that, annelids, so they have a Polychaeta or what we called as marine worm. We have Polychaeta or what we called as the earthworms. And we have Hirudinea or what we called as the leeches. So aside from that, so at this point, let's talk about taxonomy and classifications in puriferans. So puriferans also belong with kingdom Animalia. They belong with the phylum Porifera, and they have a various classes such as Calcarea and Hexactinellida, and they have also a different orders, family, genus, and species. But first, let's find out what is the functions of puriferans. So technically, puriferans are considered as a filter feeders because meaning to say they draw in water through their porous bodies and filter out tiny particles including bacteria, plankton, and many more. Aside from that, so puriferans also they have a different families such as Leucosotinellida, Euplectea or what we call as glass sponges and Calcarea sponges. When it comes to genera, as you can see here on my presentation, makikita po natin yung kanyang vital characteristics and properties. We have a different genera such as Leucosolenia and Euplectella and Spongilia. When it comes to species, they have also different species or multiple species such as Leucosolenia and Euplectella and Spongilia lacustricis. So aside from that, when it comes to sporiferous structure, as you can see here, they have a flagellum, they have a spicules, and also they have a amoebocyte and choanocyte. when it comes to skin, they have epidermis as well. And also they have a choanocyte for this when it comes to this. So porifera is also known as the sponges. And also, aside from that, when it comes to morphology and physiological adaptations, how does the living organisms, specifically macroinvertebrates, such as corals, annelids, crustaceans, and poriferans, adapt on that particular locations or environment? So the first one, when it comes to learning objectives, we will have to examine the physical and physiological adaptations in order to survive in various environment. Number two, we need to compare and contrast the morphological features across different species within each group. And also, we will need to discuss the importance of these species across to each group. So the first one, let's talk about corals. So when it comes to morphology, they have a calcium carbonated skeletons. They also have a tentacles surrounding on its mouth in order for them to catch different prey or food. They also use for feeding on plankton and capturing prey. When it comes to physiological functions, they will need to upon to synthetic algae or what we call as zooxanthellae. They also live with their certain tissues and provide them with energy through the process of photosynthesis. And when it comes to corals, they also have defense mechanism. So when you say defense mechanism, how the corals fight different organisms such as seafoods and many organisms that we can see in our oceans. So when it comes to the corals, they have a toxins or have a stinging cells in their tentacles in order for them to deter different predators. And also, when it comes to crustacean, in dealing with morphology, they have a segmented bodies and exoskeleton or hard exoskeleton. They covered such as the seafoods and crabs. They have hard exoskeleton and also they have a jointed appendages and compound eyes. When it comes to physiological adaptations, crustaceans have a gills for respiration. So ginagamit nila ito para sila ay makahinga. They also have different systems such as nervous system, sensory organs, and many more. When it comes to reproductive strategies, crustaceans have internal fertilization and external egg laying. So meaning to say, sila po ay nangingitlog din para po mag-multiple or mag-produce po ng iba't ibang what do you call this? Iba't ibang anak nila. So sila po ay nangingitlog, naglay sila ng egg, then kapag ito po ay napisa, so dadami po ang kanilang family. So, aside from that, when it comes to annelids or annelida, when it comes to morphology, they have hydrostatic skeleton and also they have a segmented worms. So when it comes to physiological adaptations, annelids have closed circulatory system with a dorsal and ventral blood vessel. Kung makikita natin, sa larawan pa lamang po, they will considered as a moist skin. So medyo mabasa-basa po siya kung tingnan. And also used for them to allow gas exchange. So when it comes to feeding strategies, we talk about detritivores or those are the decomposing organic matter. So aside from that, annelids have different parts. We have stay, mouth, cilium, and also they have a brain, hearts, and many more parts. And when it comes to poriferans, in terms of morphology and physiological adaptations, they have a simple multicellular animals. They have a skeleton of spicules or protein fibers. So as you can see here, we have pinacocyte, oocyte, parocyte, and choanocyte. So technically, when it comes to reproductions, they have a sexually by releasing gametes into the water for external fertilization. It's either a sexual or asexual budding of fragmentation. And also, when it comes to topic number 3, let's talk about life cycles of these macroinvertebrates. So we will need to discuss the reproductive strategies employed by corals, crustaceans, annelids, and poriferans. We will need to explore variations in reproductive behaviors of life cycles among these different species. And last but not the least, we will need to identify the reproductive strategies employed by the given species. So the first one, let's talk about corals. So technically, corals undergoes two reproductions. They undergo sexual and asexual reproductions. When it comes to sexual reproductions, they will need eggs and sperm into the water in order for them to occur fertilization. And when it comes to our asexually reproduction, they undergo budding and fragmentations. And also, crustaceans, when it comes to the life cycle, they have indirect developing and larval stages. So technically, meron din po silang uh, undergo or they employ sexual reproduction. They undergo internal fertilizations such as egg laying. So, and aside from that, the crustaceans exhibit or show diverse life cycles. And annelids, as you can see here, let's talk about also. They have a sexually reproduction. So meaning to say there's a presence of male and female in order for them to undergo fertilization. And when it comes to reproductive strategies, they undergo external fertilization in aquatic species and internal fertilization in terrestrial species. So they have a both male and female organs. So they will need to undergo uh, 34 to 3 days after mating. So doon pa lang nagkakaroon ng cocoon per week. Then variability is have a 55% and occupation of 68 days. And then afterwards, as time goes by, they need a hatching per cocoon. They undergo maturation time from 150 days. So aside from that, after 150 days, so pwede na po silang manganak. So when it comes to puriferans, let's talk about the life cycle. They are hermaphroditic, so meaning to say, or hermaphrodite, so meaning to say they produce both eggs and sperm. So when it comes to reproduction, they undergo sexual and asexual reproduction also. They undergo viral offspring. So as you can see here, they have embryo, fertilization, and many more. So when it comes to asexual reproduction, there's no presence of eggs and sperm. They undergo budding or fragmentation. So how about habitats and the distribution of the given species such as corals, annelids, crustaceans, and prey So learning objectives number one, we will need to describe the various habitats where these macroinvertebrates are found. Number two, we will need to discuss the distribution patterns across different regions and ecosystem. And last but not the least, we will need to appreciate the habitats. So all in all, how does the said specific organism adapt, adjust, and survive on that particular location when it comes to their habitats or shelter? So number one, let's talk about corals. So corals live technically or found usually in tropical and subtropical environment. So also they need to, we will found also in marine environment. So meaning to say, corals can see most specifically in the marine environment. And corals also, or coral reefs, are used for habitat of different organisms. And also, coral reefs also act as a food of many marine organisms. So, kaya dapat iwasan po natin ang dynamite fishing kasi in that activity, there's a possibility na magkaroon po ng destruction of our coral reefs so that in connection with that, wala pong matitirhan ang ating mga living organism that we can see in our ocean. And also, when it comes to distribution, technically corals presence in all areas of our ocean. But specifically, corals will found or found out in the Indo-Pacific region, specifically in the Great Barrier Reef, and also we have Caribbean Sea. So those are the some locations that we can consider or we can see a lot of corals. And when it comes to crustaceans, when it talks about the habitats and distribution, crustaceans are technically found both freshwater, marine water, and terrestrial habitats such as the rivers, the oceans, the estuaries, wetlands, and ponds. When it comes to terrestrial habitats, so usually makikita po natin yan sa forests and deserts such as the hippopotamus. And also we will have a different animals that we can see, specifically insect. When it comes to distribution, crustaceans have a global distribution with species found in every continent except of Antarctica. So there's a lot of factors that we'll considered rather. We have a salinity, temperature, and substrate type. And annelids, when it comes to habitat and distribution, they will found out in aquatic and terrestrial habitat also. So they live in the oceans, lake, ponds, rivers, and many more. When it comes to terrestrial environment, usually sila ay makikita in forest and agricultural field. And annelids also are essential in our plants. Why? Because it is responsible for growth and development of our plants. So plant growth and soil fertility after addition of earthworms. So bakit po kailangan ng earthworm? It is responsible or it have a vital role for the growth and development of our ecosystem, specifically of our plants. And last but not the least, when it comes to habitat and distribution, we will have a poriferans or what we call as sponges. So poriferans commonly found in our marine environment, specifically in the mangrove forests, coral reefs, seagrass, and marine environment. So sponges are often found and attached to substrates such as rocks, corals, sponges, and many more. And when it comes to distribution, usually they will see on the coastal areas or what we call as the shallow coastal waters. And also some sponges see in the polar regions. So when we say polar regions, those are the area are considered as cold temperature. So meaning to say sila ay makikita mostly sa mga malalamig na lugar. And last but not the least, let's talk about ecological roles and importance. So when it comes to learning objectives, number one, we will need to discuss the ecological roles placed by each group within their respective ecosystem. Number two, we will need to explore the significance of their diversity in maintaining ecosystem health and function. And last but not the least, we will need to illustrate the ecological roles. So the first one, let's talk about corals. So corals are responsible for nutrient cycling, and also it is responsible for the habitat formations wherein sa corals po nakatira ang iba't ibang living organism, especially small living organism that we can see in our ocean. And also we have a protection coastline. So through the help of corals, mapoprotektahan po natin ang ating coastline area in a way that we will avoid some soil erosion. And when it comes to crustaceans, crustaceans are responsible for food chains, such as specifically of marine and freshwater food web. And also, crustaceans are responsible for nutrient cycling, specifically in our organic matter within aquatic ecosystem. So as you can see here in my presentation, so through the help of different crustaceans, mas nakakatulong po ito on how to balance our nutrient cycling. And when it comes to annelids, let's talk about the soil health. So kung mapapansin natin, itatanim natin ang mga halaman medyo dun sa maraming bulate. Bakit? So through the help of these earthworms or some worms, it is responsible for growth and development of our plants. And aside from that, annelids also essential for improving drainage and enhancing nutrient cycling through their burrowing activities. And when it comes to detritivores, many annelids are detritivores. So meaning to say, they undergo decaying organic matter and decomposition. Aside from that, when it comes to our Puripara are considered our sponges. They are considered as filter feeding in a way that they will possibly pump water through their bodies so that they will trap different bacteria, specifically planktonic organism. So, in the filtration process, makakatulong po ito to clean the area cycle. Okay? And also, aside from that, those are the different references that will serve as our guide in order to read some informations about macroinvertebrates. So that's the end of my presentation. So just allow me to give thanks, and I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to our professor, Dr. Mario A. Kujamat, for allowing me to discuss this concept. So all in all, or to sum up, the importance of this lesson is to know the different uh, characteristics or vital roles of different living organisms under corals, crustaceans, annelids, and puriferans so that we will know their functions, we will know on how to adapt on their particular locations or environment, And at the same time, through the help of this lesson, we will find out the different life cycle of different organisms, as I mentioned earlier. And at the same time, the most important things is the ecological role. So ano po ba ang role ng different organism na diniscuss natin in order to have a good biodiversity? So to sum up, we will need to be thankful for that different organisms because they act on their specific roles so that we will maintain our biological biodiversity, so that we will have a balanced biological, or what we call as biodiversity. So that's the end of my presentation for today. So thank you so much and God bless us all.